Hey guys, how's it going? So, I thought I would make this video to talk about the end of the World Cup and just everything that pretty much happened, just a full overview of what I thought and things I think that could help improve it, and also just some behind the scenes kind of things that you might not really know about the World Cup that I think could be kind of interesting. So, overall, I would say that the World Cup went really well. I think people were overall pretty happy. I think it's great that Smallgate really tried to up everything from last year. The first World Cup was pretty whatever. The second World Cup had a lot more production. Now this one has a ton more production, a full venue, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, the players couldn't show up, and I'll talk about that later. But first of all, I just wanted to say thank you, Smallgate, for actually inviting me as a caster in Cars 6 and G-Clef, and it was a great time. We had a lot of fun. Me and Cars 6 would be talking in between all of the matches, and we would have like a little rehearsal thing before we would do every single broadcast, and we would just be like talking about random stuff and hanging out. All of the staff was really great to work with, and everyone was really nice. Everything went pretty smoothly, I would say, for the most part. There were some hiccups in the middle of the World Cup with some of the pauses and stuff like that. But I mostly want to be talking about the top 8, but I will mention some of the other things that happened as well. The venue was really great. There were, I think, 3,000 people who tried to go, but there were only 300 seats, so they had to actually start raffling off the tickets, which I thought was pretty crazy. I'm glad that so many people are actually excited about going to the event. At the official event as well, they also had a Emma Landy and Emma Flan cosplayers that you could like take pictures with and all sorts of stuff like that. And they had a ton of cool merchandise, like a Summer Luluka Ocean Breeze Luluka pad, like a giant desk pad. There was also like a Fairy Tale Tenebria plushie, which was pretty cute. But I think it overall went pretty great, and I was really happy about that kind of stuff. But there's a bunch of other things that I want to talk about. So I'm first going to talk about things that I think that could be improved, and also explaining things that some people were upset about and why they happened. And then I want to talk about something else that are maybe a little bit more serious, I suppose. So first I want to say this, the ban system was something that was a big deal at this event, and I heard a lot of people talking about like, why didn't they ban this? Why did they do this? And this ban system, I think, is really bad for the World Cup. How it worked is, after the initial pre-bans for both players, they both pre-banned 2 characters. Every single match after, in the best of 5 or best of 7, the characters that were banned were the previous 2 post-banned characters. So if your opponent picked Karina at the very end in their 5th pick, and the other person picked, I don't know, Apocalypse Ravi is their 5th pick, and both players decide to ban those, then those are the next 2 bans. And so people are constantly saying, like, doesn't the player pre-ban this or this after the next matches? Well, you can't really do that, because you kind of normally need to ban the final unit that the opponent picks, unless the opponent just picks poorly. So almost every single time the person would actually have to ban the final unit, so you would see so many matches that were just constantly repeated. You constantly see the same exact stuff over and over and over, and I think it made the World Cup a little less interesting because you saw so much of the same draft. I also think it made the World Cup less exciting because you saw less unit variety. Once you start having tons of pre-bans over and over, you start seeing people have to pick all these weird different characters. They start having to scrape the bottom of the barrel because all the OP characters get pre-banned essentially, just over and over. And I think that's really interesting, and it makes the whole tournament a lot better. And then you start seeing, like, I don't know, Alencia versus Charlotte and a bunch of weird different things you normally wouldn't want to, or you normally wouldn't see on the ladder, which I think is awesome. So I think that the ban system should really be changed. Another thing that a lot of people talked about is what's up with the grand finals? Why does one player have 1 win over the other player? Why is there no bracket reset or anything like that? So it turns out in Asia, generally a bracket reset isn't really a thing. So in fighting games or some other Western tournaments, you might see stuff such as a bracket reset. So whoever is on the winner's side essentially has a second life. So whoever's on the loser's side has to win 1 set to get up to the winner's side, and then win another set to actually win the grand finals. But apparently in Asia, most games don't really do that, and they just get 1 game up over the opponent. And, you know, this is an Asian game, so it makes complete sense they would do that. We did ask if they would be willing to do that, or if they think it could be a good idea. We were trying to kind of push for it, but they were like, no, we're not going to do that, which is, you know, a bit of a shame. I think it would have been pretty cool. It definitely would have changed a lot of things about this World Cup, as you just saw Marguerite winning there over Poopist. Congratulations to him, by the way. He was definitely the underdog. I did not expect him to win at all. I don't know if he expected to win. Apparently only 7% of people voted for him, so... he really defied our expectations. Good work to him. But anyways, that's why there was no bracket reset. Another thing that I really wish that they would change about the E7 World Cup, and something that I think would be really great, is I really think that they should show stuff at the end. So it's the same with something like EVO, essentially. So after the big tournament, everyone's excited, all eyes are on the tournament, you know, everyone's kind of talking about the game, everyone's interested. That's when you want to show cool content. You want to show a bunch of videos for upcoming cool stuff. You want to tease things. Maybe you have, like, I don't know, the creators of the game or something come up on stage and talk about some of that stuff, because I think that really gets the hype going, and that makes the event kind of like end even on a higher note than it was, because no matter who wins, then people get excited about the news and everything that gets announced. I think that would be really good, and I think it's a shame that Smallgate just doesn't really seem to capitalize on that at all. So anyways, I think that's something that they could improve. Now, something I also want to mention, because I see a lot of people talking about this. A lot of people are saying X or Y player was win trading in the World Cup. I talked about it a bunch on my stream earlier today, and I kind of went over the matches and stuff like that. No, they were not win trading. Some of the players, they had some bad drafts. They were getting kind of wrecked, and sometimes you saw someone fight the same things over and over and over. I saw people saying that Poopist here was actually win trading against a Marguerite, because he kept fighting into Lionheart serving, it wasn't working. If you look at his drafts, you can see what he was going for and the logic behind it. I do think that he was actually probably pretty tilted, to be honest, and I think that he was misdrafting. But at the same time, you can kind of see his thought process and what he was going for. He didn't literally draft the same team every single time. He was trying different variations to try and fight against it, and it just wasn't working, and he got crushed. Winter Wish also kind of had a similar thing, but I think Marguerite actually did draft pretty well, but I think his opponent was also tilted. And you know, people like to throw the win trading allegations and all that kind of stuff around, but I don't really think that was happening in the World Cup. Now, I will say there were people that tried to win trade to get into the World Cup. There was somebody that did that, and they actually got kicked out before the World Cup actually started, so that was really good. So Smallgate actually did kick people out that do that kind of stuff, and it's usually pretty easy to catch overall, and I don't think people were really going to win trade when the grand prize is going to be $50,000. Why would you win trade at that point unless you were really confident you were going to lose, right? But I just wanted to bring that up because I've heard so many people saying that kind of stuff, and it's not true. And believe me, there were a bunch of people that before the top 8, so in the top 16s of the matches, there were a bunch of people that are cheaters. Like, they either hired people to play on their accounts. If you compare how they look to last year to this year, they're literally a different person, so it's very clear someone else was playing on the account. And then there's that guy that got kicked out for win trading. So, like, there are people that cheat, but none of them got into the top 8. It was pretty legit, and I thought we had some pretty good matches overall. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick, because I think that's pretty important. Now, another thing I want to say is the reason why the players weren't at the venue. So it was really a shame. We really wanted all of the players to go to the actual venue and be playing up on the stage right there. You see under Marguerite's picture the chairs right there. It would be cool if there were like a couple of stations nearby or something of them playing against each other. But they couldn't due to visa issues, unfortunately. I think that Smallgate next time is really going to make sure that all of the players can actually show up 100%, because I think that's really important and it makes the event a lot cooler. But unfortunately, there were visa issues, and I think it's the fault of the players that they weren't able to get worked out, but also a bit of an oversight from Smallgate that they didn't completely confirm that the players would be able to absolutely go. So that's a bit of a shame as well. But I just kind of wanted to talk about those things. I think that the World Cup overall was a great experience. I loved being a caster. I love talking about it. I'm trying to learn to be a better caster and stuff like that as well. So it's a great experience for me as well. And it's a lot of fun. And I definitely want to do it next year, 100%. And I mean, hey, I've talked a lot of crap about Smallgate, right? And been very criticizing of tons of stuff. But in the end, I do love E7, and I mean, Smallgate's so kind, actually inviting a jerk like me on the cast, right? So I'm definitely really happy about that as well. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of talk about these things about the World Cup. It was a great experience, and I hope that lots of people enjoyed it overall. The final thing I would say is stop being mean to the players in chat. I'd like to imagine you being up there playing. It's kind of stressful, I'd assume, right? And people are just being so mean sometimes in chat. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, that's pretty much everything from me. I just want to talk about the World Cup, my final thoughts on it, and this is not really any sort. I'm not really hiding anything or holding anything back. It's kind of just how I thought about the entire event. And I just want to thank you a bunch for watching the World Cup or watching my videos, and thanks a bunch. I hope to see you next time.